In 2007, the Ministry of Education and Sports rolled out the thematic curriculum for primary 1 to 3, where learners were expected to be taught in familiar languages to improve comprehension. However, implementation has been a challenge due to unclear language policies, shortage of instructional materials, and inadequate teacher training. A familiar language is defined as the language a learner already speaks and understands before joining school. But Uganda is a country with quite many languages. The National Curriculum Development Centre's research conducted in 31 districts identified languages that are feasible for instruction in different regions. These include Ateso, Lugisu, Lusoga, Lusamia, among others in the east, Acholi, Alur, Kakwa and Langi in the north, Runyankore Ruchiga, Runyoro Rutoro and Rufumbira in the west, among others, and Luganda in the central region. In multilingual districts such as Kiliandongo, Obongi and Sembabule, Kiswahili was recommended as a neutral alternative.
Different children in the different regions or in the different districts that we were able to visit had different languages as their familiar languages, but the teaching and learning was being done in English. And this goes a long way to affect their ability to internalize, to understand, and be able to develop very many competencies that allow them to progress effectively with the learning.
As the Constitution is talking about 66 languages, it's not practical. It's not feasible to do all that we're talking about in all the 66 languages, plus the other dialects which exist in a country. So we want to come up with an optimal number of languages acceptable to all the partners.
Despite the thematic curriculum, many schools continue to use English as the primary language of instruction in lower primary, a practice that experts say undermines early literacy development.
Studies have been done that when somebody learns the familiar language better, that gains competence to even learn other languages so easily.
The experts recommend that teachers use familiar local languages from primary 1 to 3 with English as a subject, and from primary 4, teachers continue to use the area's familiar language and introduce English.
In some other instances, we found learners who had lost interest in school because of the language of instruction. So this aspect or this issue of language is very, very, very important for a learner to be taught in a language that they are familiar to.
However, challenges remain. Teachers transferred to regions where they do not speak the local language could struggle to effectively communicate with the learners.
Incorporation of the bilingual, multilingual instructional methodologies into the teacher training curriculum by the teacher training institutions like the PTCs and the universities all along, that will give the teachers competencies in acquiring different languages and being able to teach in the different languages.
You know, teachers in local languages were not available in some of the places. The availability of materials written in local languages is very important.
Still, some parents, especially in urban areas, resist the use of local languages, preferring English, which they see as the language of opportunity.
They use English as a measure of success or as a measure of prestige to see that their children are learning. But we all clearly know the facts that the language, speaking good English, does not portray your abilities in terms of learning.
Can using familiar languages in primary 1 to 3 truly improve education, literacy and comprehension or not? That is still a matter of debate among stakeholders.